Joining us today on behalf of the Menomonie Area Chamber and Visitor Center. I'm Ashley DeMuth. I have the pleasure of serving as CEO for the Menomonie Area Chamber. We are so thrilled to be hosting this event. We are taping tonight, so this will be released on our website and our social media outlets tomorrow, but we are not live streaming, so thank you so much again for joining us. I'll take this opportunity just to let you know about a few things that we have coming up at the Chamber. On April 11th, we have business after hours at Marketplace Foods. Anybody from the community is welcome to join us at that event. It's a great time, complimentary food and beverages. It's also a great networking opportunity for folks. On April 14th, we have our Junior Chamber Career Fair right here at the high school. For that event, we are busing in students from 6 local school districts to talk about career navigation, as well as having them talk to employers about what's out there for jobs currently and youth apprenticeships. On April 27th, we have our Entrepreneurs in Action, which is a virtual event. That event is held via Zoom, and we invite in entrepreneurs from the Menomonie area to talk about their journey starting and succeeding in business here in Menomonie. On May 9th, we have business after hours at Whitetail Golf Course. Again, a ton of fun. May 17th is our annual banquet and awards ceremony at the University of Wisconsin-Stout. Do I have Ryan Martin present today? All right, fantastic. Ryan Martin is our incredible board president. He may be popping in to say hello at some point during this event, but. So I have our candidates up here. Thank you so much for joining us today. I also would like to please join me in welcoming Lance Van Dam, who is our moderator this evening. So Lance will be up here asking the questions. Thank you. And Lance is a lifelong resident of our beautiful country neighbor, Baldwin, Wisconsin. Lance and his wife, Michelle, have 4 sons between the age of 2 and 14, so he's a very busy man, and he's employed by Minnesota Paving and Materials. Lance is absolutely no stranger to local government. In 2014, he was voted onto the Baldwin Village Board as a trustee, and in 2021, he was elected village president. Congratulations, Lance.
Thank you.
And during his spare time, he stays busy chasing kids to and from sports, as well as enjoying a nice Wisconsin bonfire. Who doesn't love that? So thank you, Lance, for joining us this evening, and I will go ahead and pass the mic off to you.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me? Thanks, Ashley. So this event is not to be a debate. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming here tonight. I should thank you all for the weather. Not the greatest, I don't think, out there right now, but so this event is not a debate. Questions were solicited in advance to the chamber, correct?
Yes.
So we won't be asking any questions from you guys, or you guys cannot ask questions to the candidates tonight. You're encouraged to contact the candidates after the event for any follow-up questions. Contact information for the candidates is in the back, I guess? Is there on a table back there? Okay. We ask that the audience does not provide vocal remarks or distractions, which include clapping after individual responses from the candidates. To begin our forum, we welcome our city council candidates. These are the folks that you will see on the ballot this spring. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to provide a brief introduction. We'll give a bell ding when there are 15 seconds left, and then the bell will ding again when time is up. Council candidates, please prepare to enter the stage immediately following your previous candidate to allow for a smooth and timely transition. Thank you. Introducing city council candidate Penny Burstead, Ward 2. Is she here? I heard that she might not be here.
She's cooking. Yeah.
She was cooking.
Okay. So we'll go on to the next one. Introducing city council candidate Jennifer Beach Harris, Ward 4. Come on up.
I'm so excited I get to be first. It's been a really long time since I have stood in front of people and talked. Most of my interactions take place on Zoom. But as he said, my name is Jennifer Harris, and I have currently been sitting on the City Council for Ward 4 and have been happy to represent that area. I would appreciate your vote to continue to represent Ward 4. I know I only have a couple of minutes, so I will tell you that I moved to Menomonie about 4 years ago, and I think that brings a lot of benefit coming from a different area, Rice Lake, so somewhat similar, and bring that here to Menomonie. I think one of the things that's most important to me is to hear what's important to you, and to be able to bring that back to the council and have conversations about it. I know that my ideas aren't always the best or the greatest, and what I do in my job is I bring different groups of people together to find the best ways to do things, and that's what I want to continue to do on the city council. So to give you a platform, somebody to talk to bring back that to the council, to be able to have good conversation. I have worked for the state's Medicaid program for over 10 years, so something that's really important to me is being a good steward of taxpayer dollars. I negotiate large contracts for the state, so contracts with Marshfield, with Mayo, smaller providers, local businesses, really wanting to make sure that the dollars are best spent to support the people that we support, making sure the dollars are best spent in Menomonie to support you the right way. Infrastructure, small business, creating jobs, those things are really important to me.
Wow.
So, I appreciate your time, would appreciate your vote. If any of you are in Ward 4 and I haven't met you yet door to door, I will stick around for a little bit and would love to say hi.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Introducing City Council candidate Gretchen Yanko, Ward 4.
Yes, I'm one of the people that's going to meet Jen Harris. I'm running against her, unfortunately. I'm Gretchen Yanko, as you've heard, we're voting next Tuesday in Ward 4. If you're in Ward 4, our polling place is in City Hall, so that's a good place to go and vote for either one of us. I did sprout my wings in Menomonie, and then I ventured out, and that was in another century when I sprouted my wings here. I ventured to other towns where I learned a lot about what makes a community strong and vibrant. And when I came back to Menomonie, this fabulous city, in 2007, I made a decision now that I'm ready to bring what I learned from outside of this community to this community to help us to keep it a fabulous city. In my view, the City Council is about managing resources, and my goal is to work with the council as a team to make sustainable choices for those resources, and how we plan our city's progress does matter. For example, the financial choices that we make, I do work with finances in my everyday life, and how we make those choices to enhance the businesses in our community, the business environment, and simultaneously the affordability of our housing. One does not thrive without the other, so looking for those collaborations between different resource use that we have in the city. We also have a wealth of natural resources. I love our parks in town. We have rivers and streams and all sorts of natural resources in town that also need to be involved in the planning process. Most importantly in our city is our people and all the wonderful ideas that are flowing around. So I'm wanting to listen to the community as well as Jen and bring those ideas to make thoughtful decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Gretchen. Appreciate it. We are going to go with introducing City Council candidate Leland Schwebs, Ward 6.
Good evening, everybody. I go by Lee. Leland's on the ballot, so. But anyway, I was fortunate enough 35 years ago to be asked by my employer, Northern States Power Company, now Excel, to move to Menomonie to be the division manager. And that was a darn good move. We've lived in 4 other communities with NSP as they moved me around. During my time with NSP, I've been in the design and engineering positions, I've been in customer service, and then into management. And in management, I had managed budgets that were into the millions. I had employees up to a number of 150 people. And in the last couple of years, I was part of the executive leadership of the company. After I retired, after 36.5 years, I spent 8.5 years with Wisconsin Focus on Energy. And I worked consulting with local government, with 22 school districts, including Dunn County, the city of Menomonie, and Menomonie School District. As far as outside activities, in all the locations I've lived, from La Crosse over to here and elsewhere, I've been active in community things. I've been on the Mayoral Board of Directors, on the Library Board, on the Dunn County Economic Development Corporation, Stepping Stones, Thursday Stable, and our activities. I think that the chamber, or excuse me, the chamber, you're the host, thank you. But anyway, the council has done a good job with the community, the administration, staff, and council work well together, and we accomplished some good things. I really enjoy being the council. I appreciate the 24 years I've been on, and I'd like a couple more. So, thank you.
Thanks, Lee. Now introducing City Council candidate Joyce Euler, Ward 6.
My name is Joyce Euler, and I'm running for Council Ward 6. My opponent is a 24-year incumbent who says if it isn't broke, don't fix it. But it is broke. I first considered running back in 2019 after the council canceled Christopher Columbus by replacing his day with Indigenous Peoples Day. My opponent insisted that none of the other 364 days of the year were suitable for recognizing Indigenous people because then, quote, we haven't accomplished really what we want to do with this, unquote. Then shortly after the presidential election, the council bought new Dominion voting machines and to this day refused to acknowledge the citizens' concerns about this with anything other than locking the public out of city council meetings for the last year. While the school board was having rowdy meetings with 100 angry citizens in this very room, city council meetings fled to Zoom only, with some council members participating over the phone. The week before this event, 9 days ago, the mayor finally announced the council will resume in-person meetings. I will fight for election integrity and against all mandates and lockdowns. It is broken. We need change. Please vote Joyce Euler for Ward 6. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Also introducing City Council candidate Ryland Erdman, Ward 10. I don't know if Ryland's here.
He's probably working late quite often.
Okay, thank you, candidates, and thanks for the dedication to the city of Menomonie. So now we'll get into the mayoral candidate forum. Obviously, you guys know the rules. 2 minutes. Right. Try not to run over, please. You'll get the bell.
6 minutes over here.
And remember, this is not a debate. No digs on each other either, please.
Physical?
You're gonna be very nice to each other.
Nice for each other.
Everybody just wants information. So here we go. Mayoral candidates, please provide a brief opening statement, starting in alphabetical order with Ashley Asher.
I got that on both sides, didn't I?
Yeah,
Wins,
nice.
win.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Ashley Asher, Trunkle, for those of you that don't know my married name. I grew up in Downsville and graduated from Menomonie High School in 2005. I lived in Elmwood for 8 years while I was married, and we had 2 children. And then as I got divorced, I moved back to town to raise my kids because I thought the school district was better. I'm an active part of the community. I serve on the Dunn County, or the Mayoral Board of Directors, and I was previously on the Dunn County Historical Society Board as well. And thank you for coming. And thank you to everyone that throughout this process has that has reached out and that has taken the time to get to know me. I really appreciate it. This has been an incredible experience.
Thank you very much there, candidate Asher. Lee, do we have your phone shut off now? I'm just kidding. It's okay.
My bell's really loud. That's what I think.
Check your phones.
Randy, please provide a brief opening statement for us, please.
Okay. Randy Knack, born and raised on a farm just outside of Menomonie. Grew up here in Menomonie as a farm kid. Graduated Menomonie High School right here. Spent a lot of time on the stage acting and performing. Was in high school sports and so forth. I sing currently in 2 barbershop quartets and assistant direct the Dunn County Barbershoppers. Spent a lot of time on the Mabel Tainer stage. My dad died when I was 19, and I came back from the possibility of doing acting and going to school for acting to running a business, Knack's Advertising here in Menomonie. I had up to 20 employees at different times. With that, I had to do payroll, unemployment compensation, workman's comp, all the tax papers, all that kind of stuff. And I love Menomonie. Menomonie is in my heart. Menomonie is an amazing town. We've got a lot to offer here in Menomonie. I have 2 grown children. Aaron is in the audience, wave, Aaron Knack, see. And Tiffany and my wife, and I have a 3-year-old granddaughter. And I really enjoy people, and I enjoy Menomonie. Menomonie we're in the heart of God's country here in Menomonie, Wisconsin.
Thank you there, candidate Knack. Now we'll move on to the pre-submitted questions. Again, you get 2 minutes, and we will be alternating who's first on each question. Candidate Knack, what do you feel is currently the #1 challenge in our community?
Well, a #1 challenge, I think, revolves quite a lot around our lake and what we can do about it. We were successful in 3 dredging projects with our lake. We've got a farmer-led council up north now, working with farmers and the DNR and working with cleaner water flowing north to south. And that's huge. I think that if we could clean up our lake in the center of Menomonie and the tributaries around it, we would gain in tourism, we would gain in property values, and we would gain in quality of life. I think that's my #1 goal, is to get the lake cleaned. And in the last 10 years since we started testing, our water qualities have improved, and so we're on the upswing. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's probably a 15, 20-year project. But that was my baseline of running for mayor in the first place. And I'm really pleased at the progress that we've made over the years. And forward motion is getting a crystal clear lake so that we can all go out and enjoy it with our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren and so forth. So #1 is clean our lake, and then there's a whole host of things that follow under that. There's just a lot that can be done in Menomonie, but right now Menomonie is doing great, and we're in great shape all across the board.
Candidate Asher, do you want me to repeat? I can repeat the question if you would like me to.
Not necessary. I would say our #1 issue in Menomonie is communication, or our failure to. I think we can be so much better about communicating all of those wonderful things that you talk about that we have going on. I feel like we don't have the level of accountability that we need to, and I feel like, while Menomonie is great and there are good things going on, if we don't know about them, then we're always in a state of unknown, and we're asking questions, and those questions tend to be negative. So just by taking control of our communication and having accountability, I think that right now has to be our #1 focus. And then, like Knack said, so many issues, right, every day that affect a city, but it starts with communication.
Candidate Asher, what does the ideal working relationship between the mayor and the city council look like?
So I believe that the city council is elected by the people in their ward, so they are our #1 contact, right? So I may have a vision for what I think the city of Menomonie looks like, and if the people of Menomonie elect me, I will be focused on accomplishing those things, but I have to consider and include the council members in that process. It is extremely important that they feel like they are listened to and that they are accomplishing the things they set out to do and be successful. Government works up, not down, and I just feel like open communication and listening to them is extremely important.
Candidate Knack, I can repeat the question for you if you need be.
That's fine. We are so fortunate. We have an amazing city council. Our city council meetings are streamlined. We get the work done. I feel that our city council is well informed of the agenda and items on the agenda for the evening. Our meetings used to be 10, 12 years ago, or whatever it was. They were 3 and 4 hours long. We've streamlined that down to an hour, give or take, here and there. But the work gets done, and there's no fighting, there's no quarreling. We agree to disagree. I know that, Lee and I don't know, have we ever agreed?
A couple times.
Okay, so we agreed just now. See how that works? But there are times when we don't always agree with each other, and that's okay. But we have great discussion, we have great debate, and at the end of the night, we are all okay with each other. We can work together, get the work done. There's times where I'll call a city council member and ask them their opinion on certain things, or ask them if they have any questions for the evening. We have an open door policy at the mayor's office, so anytime a council member wants to come in, or if somebody from the community wants to come in, come on in and talk to us. If you've got a concern or a project, by all means, the city council and the administration and the mayor's office works very closely together, and I'm really pleased with the work that we've gotten done with our city council. I saw you reaching for it.
You guys are quick tonight.
Going pretty good.
Well, when you know, you know.
Candidate Knack, what is a project Menomonie you are passionate about?
Well, it's the lake, but however, we've got other projects that are really important to Menomonie right now. Project Hope is a project that we just got started with the City Council's help a year or so ago, granting us the ability to put Project Hope together. Project Hope deals with methamphetamine and drug abuse, and it gives the individuals another option. Instead of just going to jail, there's some hope for these people that get involved in these bad addictions. And meth is 80% of our crime in Menomonie approximately is methamphetamines coming forward. And that just can't be. So Project Hope deals with that in a different fashion. That's one, and we recently got a $580,000 grant to propel Project Hope forward because it's proving to be a successful project. Other things too, we just got another grant monies for stepping stones. $1.7 million, I believe it was. I brought back a check from the governor 2 weeks ago to stepping stones for $1.7 million. And just to hinge on that a little bit, the county had the opportunity to do it, but the city was the ones that made it happen. And I was so pleased that our city council and the city administrator stepped up to the plate to help get the grant money application processed, and that's a success story in itself. There's so many other things too. Bringing more business into Menomonie, affordable housing to Menomonie, tiny home village, small home villages to Menomonie. There's a plethora of other things that I would talk about that are my goals for Menomonie. But being that you didn't give me 5 minutes and only gave me 2 minutes, I can only talk for a little bit. So, but Menomonie's doing really good right now, and we've got a lot of great things happening.
Candidate Asher.
All right, so as I mentioned before, I've been a part of a couple boards in town. I'm extremely active that I am fortunate to be a part of is the solar panel project that's the Dunn County Historical Society is doing at the museum. We're putting into place an ability to be basically 100% solar powered, sustainable in our own right. We will be the first in Wisconsin, we will be the first in the Midwest, and we will be one of like 5 in the country. Super excited. And then in fundraising for that project, I created an event, a community event called Wakanda Wonderland. And it was where I went out and got 60 community businesses to decorate trees. And then we opened up the museum that day. We had tractor rides, and we had this beautiful display of decorated Christmas trees, and just gave reason for people to stay in town and do something with their families. And then I've also been able to be a part of the basement remodel at the Mabel Tainer as part of that board. And if you haven't been able to check that out, please do. It's absolutely gorgeous. Just protecting our heritage in general is extremely important to me. and making sure that we have things that families want in town. So just a couple things.
Candidate Asher, how do you plan to support keeping the mill rate the same or lower than the current rate now?
Very good question, as I don't know even the definition of mill rate. However, I do know that our taxes are high for a city our size. I think that's where communication comes back into play. What are we spending that money on? What are we having to spend that money on? I know there's a $6 million project with the wastewater treatment plant that we are being basically told to do by the EPA. I don't know how many people know that's the reason their taxes go up. Our taxes, property taxes, hadn't been raised for a little while, and I don't know, you could elaborate on that as to why, but you know, just communicating why we are being charged these amounts, and then also looking at our county taxes. Our county taxes are high, and the rate we pay is high, and maybe reassessing why we pay that amount.
Candidate Knack?
Okay, well, the city of Menomonie, we've been for years trying to stay under the expenditure restraint program, which means that if we don't go over, I think it's 1.5% increase in the tax rate, then we can get like $130,000 back from the state of Wisconsin. We've been staying within the expenditure restraint program. But our mill rate, incredibly, has went from 10 years ago it was 6.5, and we're at 6.3. Mill rate is amount of money per $1,000 of home value. So that's incredible. The city taxes have not gone up, but yet we've been able to do a whole bunch of great infrastructure projects. A lot of it from grant monies and or ways that we can save money. For instance, we took all of our long-term debt, that some of it was in 5 and 6% interest rates, and we brought it all together, and we're getting around 2% interest rate on that. When we borrow money right now, we're borrowing out 2 years ahead so that we can funnel everything together and capitalize on a 1.8 or 2% interest rate, which is huge. So over the last few years, we've been actually able to save a couple $100,000 in interest. And when we made our paramedic fire department paramedics, the service calls that they were out doing brought in over $1 million a year besides. And so doing all of that, all of those programs, and working closely with the council and the administrator and all of our public works departments, we're able to capitalize on a well-run system. So that being the case, we don't have to raise taxes to get projects done. And if you look across the city with the trail system over the I-94, the trail system over the Red Cedar River, the flashing beacons down by Stout, the Winter Wonderland, and the good things that we want to do with Wolski's Bay and our park systems and our ball field renovations and our pickleball courts, there's just a lot going on in Menomonie, and it's all due to not having to raise taxes.
Quick finish to that. Candidate Knack, there are concerns in our community regarding election fraud. If elected mayor of Menomonie, what precautions will you advocate for to ensure a fair election for all?
Well, I think our elections here in Menomonie are it's a small town, and people really care. And a lot of times, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or if you're a Democrat. The most important thing is that we're all American, and we care. We don't want election fraud. And when the ballots are counted, they're looked at. They're closely monitored, and there's no UFOs or Russians or anybody zapping information or changing information on the ballots. It's all hand tabulated after the machine counts, and things are happening in Menomonie that are accurate. And I don't know about other parts of the world. I don't know what happens in Milwaukee or what happens in Florida or wherever they're at. That's theirs. But in Menomonie, we're doing a great job, and our poll workers are second to none. I mean, they work for $10, $12 an hour, but they're there all day long, and I am 100% confident in our elections here in Menomonie. And I think if we can stay where we're at now, status quo, we're in great shape. There just isn't the fraud that there might be in other locations.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that the poll workers go through a vetting process, and they also put their signatures stating that what they're doing is honest. There's rules to an election. The city clerk runs our elections, and she has to follow her process. I do believe that it's being upheld here, and I am completely comfortable with the way our elections are run.
Candidate Asher, given that we are experiencing a high number of retirements as the baby boomer generation leaves the workforce, what is your approach to hiring key leadership positions that will become vacant during your tenure if elected?
Yeah, so I enjoy the hiring process. I've been through many myself going into my corporate jobs, and so they're not easy vetting processes, but I get into the testing and things like that. I think that it's important to make sure that we know what our goals are as a city before we sit down and hire those people, and then do the risk assessment and personality assessments on them, and see what their backgrounds are, and also just make sure they're a good fit for our city. You know, someone can look fantastic on paper, but if no one wants to work with them or deal with them, or they just don't have the same goals that align with the community, then they're not the right fit. So making sure that we get people that are on board with our goals as a city.
Candidate Knack.
Well, I agree with Ashley. I think she's spot on. I've had the opportunity to ride in a dump truck, plow snow at night with employees, go ride-alongs with police officers, talk the story with them to find out how their supervisor or their fellow employees are to work with, and really get firsthand the information that you need to make sure that the right people are in the right jobs and the right fit. We've got a great crew. We, at the City of Menomonie right now, we have about 135 employees, and there isn't any of them that wouldn't feel comfortable about talking about their job with me or me with them. And we have approximately 10 supervisory positions, and those 10 supervisors come in on a Wednesday, and we have a staff meeting. So every Wednesday at 10 o'clock there's a staff, or 9 o'clock there's a staff meeting. The supervisors come in with the administrators and the mayor and others, and we talk about through different maybe the week, what's going on, you know, we're going to do this road next, we're going to do these trees next, you know, what's happening. And I think it's important that when we hire people, they are the right fit for the job. And I don't care if you've got degrees and degrees and degrees, and man, like Ashley said, if you're on paper and you look tremendous, yeah, we're going to talk to you and we're going to interview you. But it might be the fella over here that's been in that trench all day long that knows how to connect those two pipes together, that probably is more apt for the job than the piece of paper that says, you know, I have a degree in something. So we look at all the aspects when we hire people, and right now we've got a great crew, all the way from the water department, the sewer department, the street department, all the supervisors. They're really pulling the rope in the same direction, and they care about Menomonie. That's one of the biggest things. If you're hiring somebody and they care and they got heart, then they're most likely going to be a good hire.
Candidate Knack, the mayor position can take a great deal of time with a variable schedule based on the needs of the city. How do you plan to balance this schedule with your schedule for non-mayoral employment and other personal obligations?
Sure. Well, I've been doing this about 12 years. I run my own business, Knack's Advertising, and with that, I have the flexibility and the freedom to call my day. Typically in the morning, I get a text from my executive secretary that says, okay, I have a 9 o'clock meeting, a 10:30 meeting, a 1 o'clock, a 5 o'clock meeting, and then I schedule my time around the mayor's time. The mayor's office always gets first dibs on my schedule. And you know, I can work with that. I can communicate with my customers. My customers understand that I have a pretty flexible schedule, and it seems to work. That's one of the problems that we have, I think, in the future for the mayor's position is, how do you maintain a full-time job and or live in Menomonie and or don't vacation in winters and really care about Menomonie to fill the role of mayor? And so I've been fortunate, and it's really worked out well for me because I have the flexibility in my day to be able to contribute whatever time I need to in the mayor's office. And the staff knows that too. The secretary knows it, the administrator, Lil Prangy, knows it, and they will schedule things. Typically they will schedule from 8 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, everything kind of slotted in a row, so that I know at 2 o'clock in the afternoon I can go about my day and make sales calls or do paperwork at my office or what needs to happen. But there are days where it's, you know, it's a 7:30 Greater Menomonie Development Corps meeting, and it's a 1 o'clock tourism meeting, and a 4 o'clock parking utility meeting and a 6 o'clock or a 7 o'clock city council meeting. So there are days that are full on, and it's a full on mayor's day. And my wife is understanding about that, and my business is understanding about that. And we have kind of adapted the mayor's office, that the mayor gets first dibs. The mayor's office gets first dibs on the mayor, and the wife gets second dibs. And then after that, then I call my day. But typically, I don't get to call my day. Everybody else tells me where to go and sometimes what to say.
You have a really good wife.
It works. She's awesome.
Candidate Asher.
Yes, so I think in life we make time for what we view as priority. I've never had an issue to my obligations. The way our government is set up in the city of Menomonie is that we have a very well compensated city administrator, and that the mayor position is technically part-time by pay. But as we know, when we care about things, there is no time limits. I believe that it's completely doable to balance a family and a full-time job. I do have flexibility, so I'm lucky to have that in my schedule, and I could very well balance mayoral duties, a job, and my family with no problem. So I don't think it's an issue.
Candidate Asher, please describe the importance of the various commissions of the city, along with why you feel they are important.
So we need, so I'm not as versed in that, obviously. I know of like the utilities and things like that. I just know that all of those positions need to be adequately staffed with people we believe are capable of doing their jobs well. And that's all I can say is I don't know very well.
Mayor Knack.
Well, and that's fine. What we have is we have some commissions that are mandated, like the Parking Utility Commission or the Police and Fire Commission, those kinds of things. And then we have some committees, that are structured around a certain issue or event or something like that. And we have we've got volunteers from the community. Like if it's a Parking Utility Commission or committee, then those individuals would live in the city of Menomonie. If it's an airport commission, again, those would be Menomonie residents that would fill that role. And there's some really important duties. When it comes to a police and fire commission, those are the individuals that either help in the hiring process of our fire department and or police department, or those are the individuals that might have to hire or fire some individuals too. So, if you've got an opportunity to serve in any of those capacities, by all means step forward. We are looking for good people all the time for commissions and committees. Some of the committees don't exist anymore. We used to have a lot of committees in the city of Menomonie, but I think less committees has helped myself and helped the city council embrace the issues better. But there are some mandated commissions that are very important to the operation of the city. The nice thing about that too, when those commissions and those committees take on an issue, it takes the mayor and the politics out of it, and it gives a broader view of what those issues might be. So we're very fortunate here in Menomonie to have the people we have on our commissions and on our committees. So I know you're reaching for it, Ashley, I saw you.
Candidate Knack, if you could change one thing in our current city zoning code, what would it be and why?
Okay, yes. Actually, I've been working on that. I would like to change the zoning for small homes or tiny homes. Right now, a tiny home, if you want to have a tiny home village, you have to have, steps up into the loft that have to be 34 degrees or whatever it is, and you can't have overhead this and that, and it's got to be put on a trailer axle. And tiny homes could be viable in Wisconsin, but the way the current law reads, it doesn't work. So I've been meeting with those individuals in Madison. I spent a lot of time in Madison when my son was going to Madison to college, at the Capitol, talking to different powers that be. It might be the governor, or it could be building people, or it could be DNR individuals. But that's one thing I would change immediately, and I actually have been working on it. We're working on some wordage, I guess you'd call it. and I see Clint Moses just walked in. Hi, Clint. And I'll be talking to you about this too, Clint, so ears on. Tiny home villages are, I think, a possibility for a way of having affordable housing, but the way it is now, you can't build it without having an axle and having it up in the air, kind of like a mini trailer house. But I would like to see an off-grid tiny home village or small home village that's affordable. It's a $50,000 home for workforce. People that are in need of housing can't always afford a $250,000, $300,000 home. Or maybe they're only here for 2-3 years while they're in transit from one job to another. And that's why I say an off-grid small home village that's affordable, $50,000, $60,000 homes, that type of thing, would be well received. And I'm not talking about cookie cutter homes. I mean, this home could be a yurt. This could be a, I see you.
Time's a waste.
But that would be what I would change the most right now in building codes, would be to be able to put tiny homes together in a fashion that we could get an opportunity for more affordable housing.
Candidate Asher.
Yeah, when it comes to zoning, I would definitely focus on single family, making sure we have enough land designated for single family homes, as well as multi-generational homes. I think it's a thing that we're missing in town. I know with the way that people don't want to live in assisted living because they're extremely expensive. Being able to have your senior grandparent or parents on one level and have your family above them, but not have the upkeep of a home, the stress of an upkeep of a home. So just making sure our zoning matches our housing and city development plans.
Can I have her time?
No, you cannot.
I'm to the point.
Candidate Asher, how do you view the role of the mayor in relation to the city administrator?
Yes, so the mayor is elected. The city administration is a hired position. The mayor is elected by the people because of their platform. The mayor can then set the budget to support those topics and agendas. And then the city administrator should be able to take those goals and that budget and send it down through personnel and make those goals happen.
Candidate Knack.
Okay, well, the city administrator and the city mayor works hand in hand. Just about every day we have a meeting early first thing in the morning. We talk about our day, talk about the week, talk about the agenda, what's going to be scheduled for the agenda. Who do I need to go talk to? Who should you talk to as the administrator, and how can we work best together? Early on, I told the administrator that I was there to work with him, not against him, and we've had a great working relationship ever since. We are fortunate that our city administrator has been there over 30 years, and we've got a lot of continuity and stability built into that position. The thing about our administrator and the way the mayor works with each other is, if we've got a complaint, there's somebody that's really angry in the city, typically it comes to the administrator's desk, and most often it's the mayor that goes out and deals with somebody that's not happy about something, whatever it is. And it takes a lot of the political or onus off of the administrator, because that way he can concentrate on his job. He works a lot with the numbers, and he works with setting schedules for all of the supervisors. And if there's something that's going wrong, I would immediately take it to the administrator, or he would bring it to me. And we really do have a hands-on working relationship that is second to none. Menomonie has got approximately 10 supervisory roles, and under those supervisors are approximately 150 or 135 employees. But really it's from the administrator to the supervisors and on down. And if there's a hiccup or something that goes wrong or something needs to be fixed, or we talk about something, then it basically comes to the mayor, and the mayor and the administrator talk it through, and what's our best approach to deal with this situation. And we had a situation a couple years ago where I climbed in the snowplow truck and talked to one of the employees to see if we could get to the bottom of what the problem was, or other issues that might be in the city that we work well together.
What experience do you have working with a complex budget?
Okay. Well, being in my own business, I had to handle the budget and all aspects of having a business. So that was interesting with taxes and unemployment compensation, workman's comp, employees, dealing with commissions, and dealing with accounts receivable, accounts payable, expenditures. and then working through, I spent 6 years on the school board, working with OPEB benefits and all of that issues, and that was a trying time, but we got through it, and hats off to anybody who can serve in any of those capacities. Oh my goodness. Then moving into the mayor's office, now being in the mayor's office for about 12 years. We are based on an accrual system, being that we set the budget January 1st to January 1st. But that being the case, the accrual system allows us to move dollars around throughout the year. And if we are short in one account, but the other account has some money, we can transfer those dollars and we can make it all work. So I think that I've gotten pretty proficient at budgets and large budgets. We run about a $30 million budget over the year. And that being the case, we have got about $2 million right now in our general fund. We just put $1,700,000 into our affordable housing fund. We've got things happening around Menomonie, and we're still able to keep our mill rate at 6%, which is the same, actually is lower now than it was 10 years ago. So Menomonie is doing terrific, and hats off to the city council, and hats off to all the employees of the city, and hats off to the community for just being awesome.
Candidate Asher.
Yes, so I've run 2 different types of small business. I ran a restaurant for a couple of years, and now I run a freelance business development business, and I've run the budgets and run the books for both of those myself. My last position, I ran the states of Minnesota and the Dakotas for a water company. My budget was $6 million. I was part of every process of that, where I was going to get the money from, what projections for the next year looked like, how we were going to spend that money, and I had to report to our corporate headquarters in Kansas City for that. So money is a part of every day, and I'm completely comfortable budgeting it.
Candidate Asher, what would be your top 3 priorities if elected as mayor?
Yes, so again, communication. I think we need a better website. It's quite archaic. The social media could be much better. I think there's room for a media and communications coordinator in general in the city. Housing to reflect our populations and the populations we want to attract. And then creating excitement through events. Having the city step up and not being reliant on small organizations and nonprofits to create excitement in our city. We should be facilitating that so that we can attract a growing population.
Candidate Knack.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, the lake is in my blood. We need to get that fixed. Tourism to Menomonie, destination city, making Menomonie a destination city with things for people to do when they get here. My dream is to have kayaks and canoes and electric bikes and fishing pools for kids. In the wintertime, have a ice fishing shack that's a community ice fishing shack, so you can bring your kids down there so you don't have to have a lot of equipment. Things for people to do. Winter Wonderland has been a great asset the last 2 years. Having Wolski's Bay and the lights down there and getting families. It's all about families and having them outside, getting some fresh air, and it really enhances Menomonie when there's something to do in Menomonie. And affordable housing, of course, is on the top of the list. I would like to see more solar panels, so kudos, Ashley, with the solar panel project at the museum. I think Menomonie and the city of Menomonie backs that 100%. I would, right now, currently we have a housing project going in called Maple Echo Cottages. It's approximately 50 units, and there will be solar powered. A lot of the power that's generated for those houses will be solar powered. And we are looking at what does it take to give the community more affordable housing. And again, tiny home village, if that's one of the things, then that's great. If it's duplexes, if it's townhomes. Right now, a lot of times what happens is we can put the infrastructure in and we can spend the money for the water, the sewer, the curbs, the gutter, and all those things. And then a developer comes in, they build 4plexes, 8plexes, quadplexes, but then you pay rent on those. You don't really own them. And I would really like to see us have housing that's affordable, that people actually own and take pride in. And if we can get to that point, then I think we've really accomplished something.
Candidate Knack. Please provide a brief description of your experience working closely with the city or county government.
Okay. Well, you know, the city recently bought the building that the county owned, City Hall, where it's at now. And the county used to be in that building, and so quite often, once a week or so, the county administrator would walk up, or we'd walk down, have coffee, and talk about different things. It could be a street project, or it could be you know, things that are happening out in the county and or the city. And we've worked hand in hand with the county and the city closely. I have no qualms about working with the county and working closely with the city. Our administrator and the county administrator worked on many projects together. When a road goes in, it's you know, across the county and or city lines, or if there's dollars coming for state aids, municipal aids, you know, we share those different things with the county and the city. Working with projects like Project Hope with the county and the city, I mean, those are all huge, huge, huge projects. And we need the input of the county, and we need the city on board and the county on board working hand in hand together. And we work well together. The county does work well with the city, and the city really works well with the county also. The county, I think they need to do a lot better job fixing their roads, because we have to travel on their roads to get to the city. And the city, of course, we have to work on our roads. But that's one of those things that the county and the city does work together. Sometimes the city is going out on a county road to get to one of our destinations, and we put our plow down, or if the county is coming through the city on one of the roads that come through the Menomonie, you know, the county helps us out, we help them out. It's a give and take relationship, and we've done very well working with the county and the city in cohesion.
Yeah, so my involvement working with the city to this point has been through the nonprofits that I help. And that when I've reached out, I wasn't satisfied, which is why I'm actually sitting here. I believe that I'm more than capable of working with the city and county. I've so far dealt with mostly past members of the city council as well as those running. I believe that listening to them is extremely important, and yeah, that's about it.
We're getting down to the last 6 questions. I think we're doing real well in time, correct? Awesome. Candidate Asher, if elected, how do you plan to build on current partnerships that the city has worked hard to develop over the last 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, so as far as partnerships, I know with Stout, there's been a lot of work going on. I believe that could be communicated better. I know that we have great healthcare systems in our community, and that we've worked hard to have good trails and public spaces. And so just advertising those things, communicating those things to the public, and making sure we utilize them after, setting up events to utilize the partnerships and to point them out.
Yes. If elected, how do you plan to build on current partnerships that the city has worked hard to develop over the last 5 to 10 years?
Okay, great. Well, right now we've got a number of projects that are going strong. You know, Project Hope I mentioned, affordable housing, the Stepping Stones project with a grant of $1.7 million. That's huge, or $1.4 million, and $1.7 million into the affordable housing fund. That's huge. These are all projects that have started. Working on Wolski's Bay and the lake and keeping that project moving, I think, is huge. Working with UW Stout, as Ashley mentioned, and communicating with them. We do communicate on a regular basis via Zoom lately. Of course, I'm zoomed out. I think that the sooner that we can get together in person, the better off we are. I'm not really a computer person. In fact, my secretary won't let me push any of her computer buttons, and they've kind of taken my computer away from me. But they gave me a cell phone, so I'm happy. But working cohesively with the projects that are in place currently, and making them even better than they are today, making them better tomorrow. There's a lot of good things happening in Menomonie. And I was just out to Walmart, and they're putting a $100 million project in place to computerize and or to robotics, whatever that word is, to help so their employees aren't lifting boxes and putting them on the conveyor belt, so the robotics actually do the work. But they're not going to lose any employees over it. That was my first question. How many employees is this $100 million going to affect? And no, they're actually going to add employees to this project and spend $100 million. We have actually, in the last 10 years, Menomonie has grown by $100 million worth of infrastructure in 10 years, which is huge.
Done. No. We actually have only 3 more questions left, and then you guys will be asked to do a 2-minute closing statement.
I probably only need a minute.
Candidate Knack, the City of Menomonie has adopted energy goals over the last few years, which will impact different operational strategies over the course of the next 30 years. How do you plan to continue building momentum around these goals?
Well, great question. We have, the City Council implemented a carbon neutral city by 2050, working closely with Xcel Energy and implementing things like solar panels and other ways to save energy, putting high efficiency lighting in the city buildings, and working on vehicles that get better mileage, different things of that nature. So I think it's really important that we continue that trend towards being carbon neutral and working towards energy efficiency throughout Menomonie. I know the school district is working on that. Congratulations to the Rossback Museum for putting in their solar panels. Yes, solar panels. And solar garden, correct. So I think that all in all, I think we're on the right path, but we need to do more and do it faster. Xcel Energy has been instrumental in stepping up to the game, stepping up to the plate with a game changer, and that is working directly with the city and making suggestions on how to do better and how to do more. I know one of our council members, Rylan Urban, 5 years ago he was driving around on an electric motorcycle, and I see his parents are here tonight, but you know, that's what we need, is the innovative thinking of how do we get past this, the energy usage that we are currently using. I believe that there's global warming, there's storms all over, and we can make a difference here in Menomonie, but not only in Menomonie. If we can do it here, everybody can do it. So I think that we're on the right path. We just got to keep the ball moving.
Candidate Asher.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. We know that there's a lot of federal funding out there right now for that, trying to find matching grants and utilizing our citizens. We have a lot of very intelligent citizens that this is extremely important to. So making sure that we are not just looking to our elected officials and government options, but also our citizens.
Candidate Asher, what is the most important role or responsibility of the mayor?
I believe accountability is the most important part of being mayor. I think being able to communicate to the public when things are good and bad is the most important part of being any leader.
Candidate Knack.
Well, I think Ashley's exactly right. Accountability is great. That's an attribute that, continuity, stability are all attributes that a mayor should have. I also believe that if you look at a big picture, what does the mayor project for the community for the future? And how has the past been? Have we accomplished our goals? What are our goals for the future? And how do we get there? And a lot of the goals for the future are, we can say, hey, we're going to do this. But how do we get there? And that's where the rubber hits the road, is what does it take to move forward, to make things happen that are good for our community. And I think that's a huge, not burden, but attribute that a mayor should possess. That what does it take to make Menomonie as best as it can be? What is it? What do we need to do? Is it dealing with homelessness? Or is it dealing with, when a new industry comes to town, one of the first questions always is asked when we're working with a new industry is, where are we going to get the employees? Where are they going to live? Do they have to travel far to get here? Where is your workforce? And And my answer is, well, we have amazing people, not only in Menomonie, but around the surrounding area. But we also have a university, and we also have a tech school, and we also have an amazing school system. So when you get an employee, they're going to be the brightest and the best employee you've probably ever had. So not only will you have an employee, but you're going to get the best employee. And that's what we have to offer. And a lot of times that's the salesmanship that goes into being the mayor and bringing those new companies in. Ellsworth Cheese Factories, the Bills Distributing Additions, the success that our industrial and tech parks are doing right now is thumbs up, amazing.
Candidate Knack, in brief, how can Menomonie address the lack of affordable and available housing?
Okay, well that's a constant question, affordable and availability. If I had my druthers, I would love to see a small home village, and I would love to see twin homes and single family homes, but there's so much that goes into it. Right now, a twin home is expected to cost half of a twin home right now. I was just quoted $250,000, so $500,000 to build a twin home. That is incredible. And how many families can go to the bank, or how many individuals can go to the bank and get the loan dollars to put together enough money to have their own home? And that's one of the biggest hurdles we have, is we can put the infrastructure in, we can put the water, the sewer, the curbs, the gutter, and we can do all of that. But then, a lot of times when we do that, the big housing developers want to come in and they want to build their style of houses there, and that negates some of the purpose of having affordable housing that the homeowner can own himself. And that's the hugest hurdle that we have right now, is how do we make affordable housing affordable? We can do all the infrastructure we want, we can find the land, we can do all this, but yet there's one element missing, and that's affordability. If we could take, if I won the lottery and I had everything I ever needed, and I was multi-billionaire, and I wanted to say, okay, we're going to make Menomonie, we're going to make a solar village, and then we're going to make workforce development, or workforce housing and development, and then we're going to make a moderate to upper income development, and we're going to make all this available. Now you have your choice. You have a choice of workforce housing, affordable housing, a little upscale housing, retirement housing. There's a lot of aspects that go into that, and there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be accomplished before anything can happen.
I will do that. I just wrote that down for my personal notes. So
I'm going to buy a ticket one of these days.
Candidate Asher.
Yeah, so to elaborate to his point that there is a lot that goes into creating affordable homes, and that's going to take committees and groups of people like real estate agents and developers, and the city stepping up for the special assessments and things of that nature. Partnering with the USDA, we have their office right in town. That allows someone that typically can afford a $170,000 home through a bank to purchase that $250,000 townhome. So we do have the resources, and I believe that we have the intelligent people to be able to make those plans and implement them. Also, we have to remember, and I'm guilty of this today, even in an email, I focus on $250,000 to $300,000 because at a few years ago when I was trying to buy a home, that's what I was looking for, and I couldn't find anything. But then I was informed, that's a lot of money. It's still a lot of money, and we need to focus on $150,000 homes. Well, if we can't give them individual structures, we can bring in those multifunctional buildings where they have, say, a pharmacy or a retail of some sort, and then that money is paying for the infrastructure, and then we are able to move families into town still. So just making sure that we're appealing to all different incomes, and what, everybody's definition of affordable is different. But I believe we have the programs and the people to make that happen.
Well, that ends all the questions. Candidate Knack, 2 minutes. Can you give us a closing statement, please?
Sure. Real quick, I forgot to mention Home Sweet Menomonie. Home Sweet Menomonie is a program that if you're involved in somebody that's, you want to buy a new home in Menomonie, and you happen to work for one of the individuals that's partnering with the City of Menomonie, the school district or otherwise, you can get $10,000 monies towards that home purchase. And we've had 44 individuals, $440,000 that's gone out to encourage and help GAP finance some of the home purchases within Menomonie, Wisconsin. So that's huge, that's one thing. The other thing is, I look for Menomonie to be really a star city. Project Hope, we're going to take that to a next level. Once we get our feet on the ground with Project Hope in Menomonie and dealing with some of the methamphetamines and other issues, we're going to take that to Madison. I've already been scheduled to possibly talk with the League of Municipalities on this. I've talked to the governor on this. We are really striving forward to help with affordable housing, methamphetamines and drug addictions, homelessness. Congratulations, Stepping Stones. Again, I can't thank Stepping Stones enough for being a partner with the City of Menomonie for $1.4 million grant monies for a 20-home shelter. We are working with businesses coming into town. Congratulations, Ellsworth Cheese Factory. We, in the last 10 years, with the City Council's help and the administrator and the people involved, we have put together $100 million worth of growth in the industrial park in Menomonie. That's huge, in 10 years. We just closed a TID district. TID 11 just closed down, meaning that we are giving back $80 million worth of value to the school district, taxable value to the school district and the other entities, the county and so forth. So $80 million going back into the tax roll. That's huge. Menomonie is doing terrific, and I appreciate everybody being here tonight. Please remember to get out and vote on Tuesday.
Thank you, Candidate Knack. Candidate Asher.
All right. So the reason I'm running for mayor is because I believe that we can do better. I believe that we are complacent in certain issues. You know, some of us aren't the best public speakers, but I have a proven track record of city or long-term development, and I get things done. Like, I do not mess around, and I want to move us forward. We need to be more inclusive. We need to set the standard in family housing. We need to attract a labor force so that we can continue to grow our industrial park. You know, I just get excited thinking about what we look like in 5 and 10 years. And you have done a very nice job, and this is a selfless position, let's be real. So anyone, including the city council members in any community, congratulations for going through the process and for representing your communities. So, yeah, that's it.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming out tonight and talking to the public. So, and everybody else, I appreciate you guys all coming out tonight. Everybody drive home safely, and remember, April 5th, go to the polls, go vote.
I want to thank Lance and the Chamber of Commerce and everybody involved. Lance, you did a great job.
Thank you, sir.
And Ashley, good job tonight. And we're friends.
And Ashley for putting the whole thing
Yeah,
together.
Ashley, yes, good job. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ashley DeBooth.